Hello, everyone. This is Kyla from Hidden Gems Literary Emporium. Today we have Miss Shirley Yu, who is the face behind the Plants and Poetry event that is happening this Sunday at 3 o'clock at 55B Morris Street. Please get your tickets on Eventbrite. Thank you, Shirley, for being here today.
I'm so excited. I really think that a community market event for plant lovers, poetry, with books, with planty, everything. It's going to be so fun. And I'm so excited to host and co-host this really amazing experience.
We're excited too. We love community events. And of course, everyone loves plants. Everyone loves books, everyone loves art, obviously. And so it's a great way to intertwine all of them. So please, everyone who can hear the sound of my voice, go on Eventbrite, type in plants and poetry, it'll pop right up. And we'll see you all on Sunday. So Shirley, please introduce yourself to the world.
Hi, I'm Shirley Yu. I graduated with Kyla at Rutgers. I went to Rutgers for computer science. And then I decided to become an artist, have developed my creative self and run a commercial photography studio in New York. So that's been fun. During the pandemic, I started collecting plants. And I went back to my roots in computer science and I founded a tech startup too called CHOOSI. And CHOOSI is a community market for collectors, the best go-to home for collectors who really love their stuff. So when I think about social media, when I think about community, the platforms that we have online are for the lowest common denominator. It's for everyone, right? That's an experience that everyone can enjoy. And that is something that, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, that's what they offer. What Choosy offers is a deep and narrow experience. I'm not just thinking about, everything about you, where you went to school, your dog, like all of the music you like. No, we're looking at a deep and narrow, like if you love to collect, Choosy's interested in what kind of stuff you like, categorically, thematically. If you collect pink plants, if you collect creepy dolls, like we want to have a home where you can kind of share your stuff, where you can talk shop with people about the stuff that you know and love and have a really meaningful experience based on the fun that you have collecting. So not so much about, we don't want to take over every aspect of your life, but we would love to be your home in collecting and talking about that stuff that you love. And then of course, getting more stuff, but the right stuff that actually adds to your life and lets you have fun with it. So if you love plants, let's have a good experience around that. Let's talk to each other, buy each other's soil mixes, each other trade plants, and get planty.
I love that because even as recently as 45 minutes ago, I was on Facebook, and then when you have an interest in something, you say, okay, let me see how many Facebook groups there are about this thing. And there are literally thousands, and you kind of get overwhelmed. You join them all and you get lost in the sauce. And it would be nice to have just one place that, like you said, is your home. You get to know the people in that community, and then you just always hop back into Choosy for things that you need, as opposed to searching through, like how I do now, 25 Facebook groups to try and find a plant or one little thing that I'm looking for.
I mean, I think that one of the beautiful things of the internet is it puts everything that we could ever want at our fingertips. But what my experience is, and sort of my pain with collecting as someone that really, really loves plants, is having so many different groups. I'm in probably like 200 different groups just around plants, because I don't know which one to join. I don't want to miss out on like really great news or really great other collectors selling great plants. So I'm constantly checking like 20 different groups, because that are very similar, but also because I don't know if I'm going to be missing out on something that I really would like to hear about. So my inspiration for Choosy was a central community based on what you love, the stuff you love. And for example, be able to filter it down. For example, what's going on in the plant world near me? Like, what about the users who are in my area, in my region? What are we hearing about plant news here with the plant shops, with the, you know, what's plants are for sale, what, you know, where to get good soil mixes, or, you know, maybe we can filter it down, people who love plants, but people who love plants near me, or people who love plants that are selling some plants that are in my budget. Something that makes it a better experience for me and a central location, so I probably don't have to swipe and check 200 different places just to find whatever's relevant for me. I see the future as, you know, I love that everything's at our fingertips, but my future is not to find needles in a haystack. My future is not to constantly be glued to social media. It's when I do open the platforms that I'm opening, I'm seeing, you know, the stuff that matters to me finds me. And then I can kind of see the stuff that makes the most sense for me, that, you know, gives me friends in my community, that gives me information about what I care about. And everything I see is really meaningful and I can control it. And then I can turn it off and then go spend time with my family and do other things. So I feel like I'm not missing out on anything. That is my vision, is, you know, the right stuff finds you. And that's the future, I think.
I agree. That sounds like a great future, because it's so easy to get online, get flooded with information. A lot of it is useless and, like you said, not related to what you even want to see. And I think what you're doing is great. Question: how
Yeah.
did you go from computer science to photography to plants?
So it's kind of interesting because I've always been interested in the tech space, primarily in college, because I admire vision. I admire the ability to see something new that we haven't created before and then just go for it. I think that there are so many experiences of mine where I feel just societally, school-wise, just based in modern society, that we, or at least our generation, has been taught to kind of work for the man and just like kind of do fit into the society as it is. And I don't believe in a fixed society. I believe that our society can change and we can all make an impact on it. So I don't want to feel like being different is a negative. I always wanted to feel that, hey, you know who was weird and different? Andy Warhol. You know who was weird and different? Steve Jobs. So for me, the idea conceptually behind technology was, is there something we can do to make our time more meaningful? Is there something that we can do that can make an impact? And with the internet and technology, the ability for us to make an impact is so much more democratized. And you know, my boyfriend being a science fiction writer, you know, there are positives and there are negatives to technology, and it's all about what we as individuals can choose to do based on, you know, what our vision is, what our mission is for our companies. So I was interested in it from the visionary perspective of the opportunities conceptually behind technology, and that's why I decided to study it. However, like, I've always felt this really strong artistic bent where I feel like I can daydream something that isn't right now, but something that, like, what I would like it to be. And one of the reasons I became an artist was to exercise those skills. So can I make something that hasn't been made before? Can I think about the world as it is now in a new way? And with artwork, it also speaks to me as a collector, just like I do still life photography, primarily fine art, still life photography. So I'm thinking about finding the objects that can tell a story, telling a story with things, curating them together in interesting ways that you wouldn't normally look at them. I love stuff, and I love how stuff can tell a story together. It's not about what the stuff is, it's about your take on it and how you curate it. And as an artist and a collector, I feel like that's so compatible with, I don't want it to be about stuff. I want the artwork to be about me and what I'm saying using the stuff.
What you're saying is so important. At the bookstore, we always meet record students, and of course we say, what do you study? And they say, I'm studying this, but I really want to be this. So two people in particular that's standing out in my mind. One is a neuroscience major who wants to be a filmmaker. The other young lady we met actually yesterday or 2 days ago, she is in chemical engineering, but she wants to be a singer. And a lot of times, and it seems especially at Rutgers, there are students who are in one field, but they have this creative talent, really, that they want to explore. So how did you get, for lack of a better word, maybe the courage to switch career paths, and also to quit your job to start this company?
I realized that it's a social construct to want to put ourselves in boxes. I think it's a social construct that we, of course, it makes sense to have a major to guide the things that you learn, unless you're in like a individualized study course. They have some of those programs at NYU and other colleges where you can build your own major. But I think that a lot of people in our generation have been taught that there's a linear path and that we have to pick one or the other in order to succeed. And I think of it less as a line and more as a flow, right? So for me, everything's been intertwined, and I've learned to learn not just from school, but from life. So while I was at Rutgers studying computer science, I was working at the school newspaper. I was working at the Targum. And that led me to telling stories with images and with artwork. And when it came to technology, it made me understand kind of more about where our world is going. And fun fact, my senior year of college, I had been assisting in the photography industry during the summers and the winters. I had done some internships using my Targum as experience and also my degree. And I got a call from an editor at Time magazine. So my senior year of college, they were like, Shirley, we want your take on this because you have a pretty unique take. We're doing a story about self-driving cars and we're looking for the artwork. And I was like, I'm going to propose some artwork about self-driving cars. And this was before self-driving cars, but I had already been so interested in Tesla. I had already been a reader of Bloomberg Business Week and trying to, trying to understand all this stuff. So I was actually the perfect artist to commission for this. And the funny thing is, some of my computer science professors were champions of my artwork because they realized that, oh, you know what? It's not just because you're interested in technology doesn't make you a technologist. What you're doing in college is thinking. What you're doing in college is critical thinking. It's about spending 4 years doing something that teaches you discipline, that teaches you that you must work hard. And if you love neuroscience and also filmmaking, there are opportunities to cross-pollinate, right? There are opportunities to make content about our brains, about our minds, our things that don't understand, and learn these topics and disseminate them in ways that make an impact. One of the things that I love to do with science stories and business and technology stories this is really important research, but I try to make the artwork that can impact someone so that that person can understand it. It's a translation that will make them interested in the field and create a new generation of neuroscientists or psychologists. So your experience with books, your experience in your life, and your skills and your hobbies and your passions, you can find ways to use both and let both of those be an asset. Knowing how to think, being inspired about films by watching films can actually inspire you to take new directions with research, with new directions in neuroscience. So look at everything. I guess without believing there's a line, without believing there's a box, that was the first step, is thinking, you know what, I'm just Shirley. I'm not in a box. I'm not in this box. I'm not in this box. Everything that I've learned and everything I'm experienced and everything that I'm passionate about makes like one whole Shirley. That was my perspective, and the courage to quit your job and just do it. Look, it's not the normal path, but it's Shirley's path. And being a tech founder, being an artist takes risks. An artist never knows when they're going to get their next art commission, and they can only bank on the strength of their ideas, and whatever vision they have is their only currency. So that makes me, as a tech startup founder, the ability to think further and farther, and that gives me the ability to weather risk and to say, you know what, this isn't the easiest thing I want to build. A home for collectors. I could just like make a marketplace, like a small, they have just a marketplace for plants. But what if I want to reinvent the experience, not just for plants, but also one day for people that collect mushrooms, people that collect, flowers, people that collect crystals and cookie jars. Like, who knows? I love to think big and work backwards. And that's from my training as an artist, is to think about the biggest impact and the most different thing you can do that hasn't been done. And, you don't become an artist if you don't take some risk. So, not playing it safe is, I think, the best people in tech, the Steve Jobses, those are the people that didn't play it safe. They were the people that saying, you know what? The idea of having not like a big giant phone, but a small one. Look, a lot of people can't imagine that. But the person that imagined that makes it happen. So makes it better.
I love that. I love everything you just said. And it speaks directly to the artist entrepreneur experience. And okay, so another question. So there's an artist who, okay, they want to quit their job. Mm-hmm. They're right there. They're typing up the letter. They're about to send it. Okay, they sent the letter. Now they're thinking, okay, now what do I do?
I mean, yeah, it's so scary to do it. And I feel that now what do you do? The thing you got to do is something new every day. To think about, one, your art is number one. So having that ability to, like, every year, twice a year, a lot of artists think that once they quit their jobs, the only thing they need to do is paid work. And to an extent, of course, we need to find clients and get paid. But one thing that people underestimate how much it's important to do is personal work, is work that demonstrates your point of view, because your point of view is what will get you paid work in my line of experience. So just a background on one of my stories is this year, or since the pandemic started, I thought about, who do I want to be as an artist? Like, what do I care about? And why should other people care about my work? I did a story about quarantine care package, about when we're so distanced from everyone around us. This was earlier in the pandemic. My mom was dropping packages of little fruit that she cut and little things from the supermarket that she thought I would like to eat. We couldn't see each other. We couldn't hug each other. So I did a photography story about this. When you're doing still lives, there's no one in the photo. And I'm just thinking about, these are the things that have been curated for me from my mom, things that have a lot of sentimental value, but aren't worth anything monetarily. I did the same thing for a personal story called Bougie and Budget, where
I saw that.
yeah, where like an Arizona can, like a ring pop, like things that you find in the corner bodega, things that you find for $1, like a dollar store slides, they have nostalgia for you. I treat them as if they were expensive almost in my head, because I have such good memories with just the common things that I found in my childhood, as opposed to, you know, rings and Rolexes. You know, these things are a different kind of value to me. Thinking about a lot of what I've done recently is work that is centered on culture, that is centered, like my culture specifically, but my reflections on culture, sustainability. These are things I care about. I did a story for Adweek magazine about being an Asian American woman and having these perspectives of Asian American women that aren't me, but have followed me around my whole life. The kid,
Wow.
the nerd, like the good time girl, the you know, the foreigner. Like, these are not me, but my artwork speaks to the fact that people might see these people and they don't see us, because I don't know. You know, I can only know how people treat me. So that was a commentary on that. And because I speak to my culture, because I speak about the things that I care about, I was able to get on the radar of clients that have contributed. Like, my best patrons are the clients that get me from my point of view, not just for my technical ability or for, you know, I don't show the work that I just do for pay. I show the work that demonstrates point of view. And so Toyota last year was like, we want you to fly to LA. We're doing a Chinese New Year, you know, we're doing a Chinese New Year social campaign, and we want your perspective on how you celebrate Chinese New Year and where you go. If you're going on a trip with your family, if you're buying gifts and whatever. So I'm thinking about, you know what? People want my perspective on culture. People want my perspective on, you know, being a woman, an Asian American woman, because I put these things in my artwork. The actual paid clients that want to speak to diversity and inclusion and want to elevate voices like mine are going to look at me, because I showed them that I know I can convey what I care about, so I can convey what they want to care about. Mm-hmm. So I always try to tell people to be true to themselves, because artists always make what they think other people want to see. Right. And that's important. Like, you can have like a secret portfolio of e-com shots. That's fine. But always make some work each year that really shows your point of view.
Right.
Or at least something that you care about.
Right. As artists and entrepreneurs, really our perspective is the foundation of who we are. And that's why we become artists and entrepreneurs, because it's a statement of saying, this is what I, just like you said, this is what I feel is important to the world. And we put that out there, whether it's different or if it aligns with what's going on in the world. But anytime you create something, whether it's a photograph or you write a book or you do a community effort or you build an app, you're writing something into history. And so as artists, it's important that we make sure that what we write into history is meaningful, so that years later, we're not looking back with regrets because we weren't the type of photographer that we really
Yeah.
wanted to be. We were just doing it because we felt like that's what we needed to do for everyone.
Yeah, and I feel like the world is, in the sense that it's cruel, it tells us what we're expected to do and how we can fit into the world, you know?
Right.
And some people, a lot of people don't fit into a cookie cutter version of the world. Like, I knew from day one of being a startup founder that I didn't want to make the Amazon. I didn't want to make a business that brought small business out of business. I didn't want to replace, you know, people who know and love that stuff. I wanted to empower them. So for example, on Choosy, becoming your own tastemaker because you know and love that stuff, becoming your own entrepreneur is something that is empowered for you to do. We're not the big wholesaler that will take the small plant shop out of business. We're that person we're that app that will supercharge that small business to find the buyers that are highly motivated to go get that stuff. They want to see your drop. They want to see you guys drop stuff that makes sense for them. Like even for, I guess, collector adjacent things, like, if you love plants, wouldn't you want to know if there was a new plant book available in your neighborhood? Like,
yes,
you guys restocked, you know, like finding not just the internet is so much towards pushing stuff onto people, but what about making a community of people and then making sure that like letting entrepreneurs benefit from having the community of people and getting to know them so that they can find that stuff themselves and supercharging a deeper connection, not just like a narrow connection, but like a meaningful one. Kind of replicating that in-store experience and letting you have more of that in-store experience, that experience when someone comes in and they genuinely ask you a question and they want to know your expertise and your recommendation about a book because they trust you and they're having that like one-on-one connection with you. Having a deeper connection, in my mind, one that pays attention to, oh, you know what? This customer isn't just a number to me. They're a customer with real wants and real questions, and getting to connect with them deeper based on, oh, you know what? That's Joe. And they're really into that. Joe's starting an herb garden. You know what? Since I know that Joe is starting an herb garden, I can recommend him these things and then talk to him about it too. I always knew value-wise, I didn't want to be this cold, big giant thing. It's a values thing. Do you want to empower small business, or do you want to, replace small business? That's the whole thing. That's the whole balance of, and that's something we hear a lot with like, a lot of different apps that if you think about, small restaurants and how restaurants have been really pummeled by the pandemic. And, if we think about that and we think about the various developments in technology that are hard for it, on one hand, it's great that restaurants have the opportunity to deliver because they can make up for some of the gaps. On the other hand, relying on only one or two delivery apps means the delivery apps have a monopoly. And so there's this balance of being responsible and also feeling like, hey, I get to make an impact. But is that impact good? Like, as a business owner myself, I want to make sure that I'm also making a positive impact too. And, a positive impact on the community, which is one thing I really love about Hidden Gems too, about the charity work, the donations that you guys do, the free books. Those are, when I think about Hidden Gems as like a value-led, a mission-led brand, like somebody that actually cares about something beyond just like, I'm not thinking like Barnes and Nobles is going to care about me. Like I'm thinking like, or like, I'm thinking like just because, you know, we're not the biggest, baddest tech company in town, the impact that we're making is still good, and it still matters to, you know, the people that we do, and we try to keep the values. So as an entrepreneur, like, as you can understand, if we gave up our values, I mean, I don't know, it's not worth it. We always,
It's not worth it at all. And it's so funny that you spoke about Amazon, because there was someone who came in today, and we have 3 tables where we feature independent authors. And we always talk about how there are enough people just in the world to where authors should be able to tap into a fabric of people and promote their book and be successful without having to rely on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles or these other corporations where they sell your book and only give you about $2 or $3 to $4 per sale.
and the other issue with that too is because of, it's, you know, it's a mishmash, it's not curated or anything on this massive marketplace.
Right.
So if you think about the business model, I guess the old business model, the traditional business model there, it's, you know, what do you do as a seller on Amazon or an author? You boost the post. You have to use SEO, you have to sponsor ads before you actually reach that person. They make it so that it's, you know, a lot of companies make it pay to play for you to make a connection with that person. Whereas if you had a meaningful in-store connection or in-person connection, that's free. That's
Right.
based on how nice you are and how much you know about what you know about, and how what you know about your product. Whereas online, so many places are not only hard for you to make a connection with anybody because it's just like behind a screen, but also you have to pay to even get in front of those people, which is kind of like, well, why not close the gap a little bit between the producer of the work and you, the person that's enjoying it?
Right.
I think that we need to go back to that because it's more natural and honestly more meaningful.
Right.
And better for the author too, because, you know, spending all your money on, you know, paying for sponsored placement on the front page, like that's, you're already not making that much money.
Right.
So that's just hard nowadays.
Right. I was just on the phone with an author who lives in Australia, and he was telling me that he would need to sell 8,000 copies of his book just to make back the money that he invested in the project.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when people think about, oh, wow, like back then in 1970, it was, you know, it was easy. You know, why are, you know, the older generation, right? Oh my gosh, I feel like as a millennial, I suck because I'm not as successful by the time that I was, you know, 20, whatever, 27,
Right.
28, whatever. I feel bad because like all of the famous, you know, artists, authors that I admire were so much more successful at my age. Well, what I realized was, and it took me a long time to stop like feeling like insecure about it myself. It was just easier back then. It was just easier. We have to not only spend money and put in time and everything to get the same amount of reach now, but they make it, I feel like if you have connections yourself or you're putting yourself out there and it's kind of a more level playing field than just like, let me put the most money into ads. We can't beat ourselves up about that. We just have to do our best because you know what? It just was easier to get your hands. You're into stores, into people's eyeballs. We're less inundated with, you know, if you think about being inundated with irrelevant ads and like just being treated like a picture of a number, we're all so saturated with items, with content. Like on a daily basis that it is hard to think about a new thing, because I love to answer the phone. I love to talk, but
I do too.
I get so many telemarketers that I'm like scared to pick up the phone now.
Yeah.
So I really feel for authors nowadays, because people have lower amounts of patience now. And but the great thing that is, it's if you're really into reading, if you're really into writing, and you're willing to go out to events, and you're willing to make deeper connections and go to festivals and other things, there are a lot of really good opportunities to find like-minded people. It's just, for the average person, I think that it's hard. I wish more people read books, but they're just like, there's just words, like random mishmash of words that people can't, people are enjoying shorter and shorter like forms of media, but books are rewarding.
Right. And when we started this bookstore, we thought we were going to have to convince everyone to love books, but we just like you just said, we tapped into a huge community of people who are avid book readers, who are avid writers, and we also found people who come in and they say, well, I usually only read for school, or I don't have a lot of time to read, but I found you guys on Instagram. I just want to see what you have. So, we also try and present the bookstore, our effort, what we're doing in a fresh and fun type of way that's relatable to young people, older people. I mean, there's people of all ages and demographics that support the store and come by. And then, like you said, when something is placed in your heart and you have people first, or you do things for your community, then it definitely is rewarding.
What is your, and this is just a question for you, but like,
Okay.
as a shopkeeper, you are a curator of your own stock, right? So you have your own take on, what hidden gems believes are hidden gems. What is sort of like my curiousness is like, what makes, if you had to think about, the special considerations that you put into your selection, as opposed to like, I don't know, a chain store, like, what do you love about what you guys carry, and sort of the community that you serve?
I love that question. The every time we get donations of books, we literally find something inside that can change our entire day. So some people, the one thing, we have used and new books. We started with used books, which was great because people were donating books at such an alarming rate, and are still are. But the cool thing about used books is that the hidden gems in the book, and we believe that every book has a hidden gem in it, and we encourage everyone to read with discernment, so that you can find those things and apply them to your life, or do further research, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. But a lot of the used books we have will have things underlined or highlighted or marked, or there'll be a piece of paper stuffed in them. And those things are literally gems. Sometimes we get notes from 100 years ago, and you wouldn't believe it, or it'll be love notes, or just things that help the reader relate to the last person that had the book. Genre wise, of course, we love history, but like I said, we carry all genres because we really do believe that every book has a hidden gem in it. A lot of books that are fiction have notes, or themes, or people, or places that are actually based on real events and real historical nations, or places, or people. And so, to answer your question, any book that you, and I mean, there's so many, any book that you pick up, you can find a hidden gem in it. It could be one sentence, it could be a paragraph or a chapter. But every book that you find, you can find something that can enhance your life in some way.
Do
So
do you have like, I know that a lot of bookstores have, like this is a mystery section, this is
Mhm.
the, history section. Do you have any, when you think about like featured collections, like front of the store, like I
Mhm.
guess like a not just like top shelf, but like, a special collection. What is a cool way that what is your favorite way that you've grouped like, I guess a featured like
Mhm.
section of books? Um, of course, there are like standard sections like children's and mystery.
Mhm.
But like, have you guys come up with like an interesting curation lately that
I would say so. So we keep the children's books together, of course. We always put our independent authors on the forefront. Just always, 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 because of what we said before. The bookshelves, interestingly enough, are not categorized in any way, shape, or form. And we do this purposely because we want people to
like
like go through and find what they want. And sometimes we also stuff the rows with two books, so people are forced to like look behind and look through. And it's fun because people literally stay there for hours looking through shelves, finding, talking, pulling out a book, and just like you said, asking us our opinion. What's this book about? What do you think? I'm studying this. Do you think this would be a good resource for me? So yeah, we keep it very simple. We keep our shelves mixed up because we want people to go through. But we always, every single day, we always put our independent authors on blast because we want them to be on blast. Some things that we do is we'll take titles, usually novels, and we'll arrange them either by color or we'll put them in a sentence depending on the title of the book. Sometimes we'll just throw them up there and we'll have the customer come in and we'll challenge them, try and create a sentence with these titles or maybe do a little haiku with these titles. And then we just play fun little literary games with them
I
in
think
that way.
it should be fun. That's the joy, I think, of one of the joys that I have with shopping and
Mhm.
and finding special things is is that spontaneous discovery
Yes.
is that kind of like going in with an open mind and leaving with something I didn't know that I would find.
Right.
The best things is when I see it, I know that it's right for me. I know that, I'm gonna have a good time with it. And I think that when I when I think about technology as it is right now, or the most popular forms of it, a lot of people say to me, and one, just to preface this, we're starting Choosy on a prototype level with botanical natural items. But we also think about vintage art and media. We also think about different things that people love to hunt for. And one of those things is, of course, there's a whole section to stationery and, books, like, for example, rare editions of books or older books or books with certain kinds of writing in it and stuff like that. The books that are, if you put it on eBay, it would be hard to sell because it would be on page 19 in like an hour, But there are people that are really, really into that stuff that like in a chain store would be really hard to sell. But people love that. And I feel like spontaneous discovery, like if someone's into that and they knew where you could find that, or they could kind of like spontaneously stumble upon things. People think that, I've gotten a lot of feedback about Choosy being like, oh, you know what, you're a spot where people can buy rare or uncommon and unique things. Guess what, they can find it on eBay. And it's like, okay, if you want to find a rare book on eBay, you have to click through 500 pages, or you have to know the serial number. And guess what? A lot of old books, you don't know their serial number. Or maybe you're not even looking for a specific old book. Maybe you're just open to building your collection of cool old books, and you're kind of looking at you know what, I already have Moby Dick and I already have these things, but I don't have anything that's kind of about this. That's kind of like an old mystery, like something nostalgic. You're coming in as a discovery-led shopper. You're coming in to browse. It's not like digging around like, Google Images. It's kind of like a Pinterest in terms of how I see the world getting better is being more discovery enabled and finding on eBay, the business, the picture is literally just like a weird avatar with like a star on it. And I'm like, I want to see the story behind who is, letting go of this stuff, who is buying that stuff. I'm Joe and I collect this. Hey, I'm Ray and I stock this stuff and I sell it and I know a lot about it. So like, ask me about it. Like it's people have been segmenting apps and technology in the startup world as this is business to business, this is business to consumer. And I'm like, what about person to person? What about peer to peer? What about collector to collector? I mean, what about a circular economy where we're not just making and mass producing things, we're also finding old things or finding existing things a new home. And we're also finding the weird wacky stuff that is super hard to sell to like everybody individually, but like collectively, spontaneously, these are really interesting things. I mean, what if we brought the people power, like the knowledge and the love, back into these things instead of just making more things? I think that old things and, like rare things, people are like, well, when I collect stuff, like I want like magic Pokemon card number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm like, okay, like you're cool to be that way, but I also collect things, but I'm pretty open to it. Maybe I want something old today. Maybe I want something blue. Maybe I'm building a blue section of my collection or an old section of my collection. Maybe I love stationery. Maybe I like pens. I don't know. But people are a lot more open than I think the internet gives them credit for, because the internet is like, type in what you want. And I'm like, I don't want to type in what I want. I just want to look at stuff that I might want.
Yeah. And I love what you said about knowing the person that you're getting the things from. And it's so important. And even with the bookstore, as recently as last week, there was a family, well, a friend of the family, and the family, one of the members passed away there. They were cleaning out their estate. They donated around 300 to 400 books. And when I tell you, there were so many hidden gems in these donations. First of all, we got to know the man who passed away so very well. We know what he likes. He loves golf. He loves wine, cigars. He loves to read. There were so many autographed copies from Susie Orman, Star Jones. He also made his own book full of cutouts and handwritten notes on these really nice index cards. So we called them back and said, I think you guys want this. So they're going to come get that. What else does he like? He was a part of the Trump Golf Club. He was very much so into business and finance. And all of these things we learned about this man just by going through his old things and his collectibles, things that he collect. I mean, it was so many books. And we, we're grateful to be able to know him and in a way pass his legacy, well, not even pass it down, but spread it wide, far and wide to many people. I love what you said about not just searching one thing in, but being open to browsing.
Yeah, we're not robots,
Right.
We don't need to be like only looking for one thing. We are capable of making our own judgments, and we're also capable of, just like being open-minded. I feel like that's what makes us people, not just like machines typing in a box.
Right.
I think that there's a lot of different platforms where you can find something exactly as you type it, but not a lot of places where maybe you could find weird and wacky things, used things, and you know, thematic things too.
Right.
I think that it might have to do with, like, I feel like, you know, I'm an immigrant. I was born in China and I came here in 1998 with my family. And I feel like I had a childhood where I felt a little bit marginalized because of my language, a barrier at the time. I had a language barrier. And I have this affinity for, you know, the unpopular things. I have this affinity for the overlooked things, not just the things that are the most popular. You know, everybody wants a Rolex watch, everyone wants, you know, just the most popular books. Like, oh, I either want you know, Harry Potter, or I want, like, you know, 50 Shades of Grey, whatever. I mean, it's great that people want the popular stuff, and you can get that anywhere. But that doesn't mean the stuff that isn't that popular isn't good or belongs in the trash. I feel, maybe it's because my mom is also, I take after my mom, and she's a little bit of a hoarder. She's choosy. She's always collecting stuff. She's always bargain hunting and looking for that deal, open to whatever is in someone's front yard, or, you know, in a hole in a wall store, or in the back of the supermarket. She's really open to it. And I feel like I take after her because I really believe that, like, I can't put things in the trash just because they're unpopular if I think that they're also meaningful.
Right.
I don't know if I told you the story about the early in the pandemic, those film transparencies that I found in the back of my building.
No.
Oh, so when I started, I found a box, you know, last year, a box of 200 Kodak transparencies from the 1950s, maybe like 5 years. And it was all around the world. So Miami, it was Spain, it was Cuba, it was the beach, it was the city, it was, you know, families and portraits, and, you know, really amazing capture of not just history, but and leisure, but life. And they were in the trash. They were in the garbage. And I remember picking them all up off the floor and putting them back in the box and bringing them home. And I couldn't bear to see them go into a garbage dumpster, like into a dumpster truck. I am a photographer myself, so I know that transparencies are unique. They're also a moment in history and memories that, and they were good pictures too. They were like pretty good pictures. I thought that it was awesome. But of course, you know, I couldn't hold on to it because I didn't have enough space for me personally. So I posted it on eBay, and in an hour, it literally was on like page 7. Like, no one saw it. After a week, I was like, okay, no one's seeing my eBay. This is never going to get bought. I want it to go to a home. I don't think it is worthless, but I also can't keep it myself. So after that week, I Googled people that collect vintage film photography, transparencies, slides, and negatives. And I literally spent like hours like clicking through, looking at blogs, seeing if they were still active or whether they were from 2004. I sent a bunch of emails and tried to wait for them to respond. After a week, it's like, if, you know, people weren't taking acquisitions or something, I posted on Facebook and Reddit for transparencies, just to see if somebody would see it. Not everyone's on checking their Facebook or their social media all the time. So I was just hoping that somebody interested in this would see it, so I didn't have to throw it away. So after 3 weeks, I found somebody who was so heavily motivated to buy it. They
Wow.
responded to my email and they were like, I collect vintage transparencies. I collect vintage transparencies and my collection is only beach and water scenes. And
Wow.
you have a whole lot of, you know, pictures from Greece and from the Canary Islands and from Cuba from the 1950s. I will give you $200 for it, and I'll take it this
Wow.
week. I will take it right now. Like, please ship them to me right now. And I'm like,
Wow.
wow, that person. I spent so much time looking for that person because I was letting go of something special. And I'm
Right.
thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not just collecting the stuff for collectors. I'm also collecting the collectors.
Right.
I'm a collector. So it's like, even if you weren't a collector, what does Choosy mean for you? If you come across something special, what if I told you you didn't have to pull teeth or put it on eBay and wait for that right person? What if we could notify those collectors that would be the most interested in that stuff? And they could come, they would pay you straight up and then come get it like ASAP. Like,
Wow.
because, you know, let's close that gap and let people rescue the stuff that is unloved. It's not worthless just because not everyone wants it. It's just that the people that want it maybe really want it.
Right.
So that vintage cookie jar doesn't have to go in the trash. That, you know, weird and wacky like doll or whatever, it doesn't have to go in the trash. I just love saving things from the trash. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yes. So do we, and so do a lot of people that love the bookstore. And Hidden Gems is going to have to make a Choosy account, because this sounds like a great way. There sometimes we go through the same thing where we have a book that is literally a hidden gem and we put it out on the table. It doesn't get chosen. We'll recommend it to people. It doesn't get chosen. And then it'll be maybe a month or even sometimes more. Well, someone will come in and they'll say, I was looking for this book. Oh, or wow. It's like you see that moment in their eyes. And
yeah, they're like, oh my God, I cannot believe that you have this. I've been looking out for this. I've been trying to ask my friends, seeing if they knew which store had it. And I was looking for this. And I didn't know. If you guys didn't have it, I would wait 3 more months before someone told me where else it might be, like this edition or this title, something like that.
Yeah.
It's not like it doesn't exist. It's just, I don't think we have a good system to make those connections, like make deeper connections with people. We know people like that guy, we know on Facebook, like, you know, with the advertising that we have, like what generally someone's into, but like, I don't feel like we really let them decide. I don't really feel like they are their whole selves about it. So yeah, I definitely think that you should make one. We're probably going to expand to books. So our first prototype, they said, you know, having mentors and advisors and, you know, listening to a lot of different people that we've done and doing our research. One of the best pieces of advice that we got was, if you're making a college student app, you can't start the college student app at NYU, where if you fuck up, if you F up, everyone, I don't know if they're kids, but if you F up, everyone will notice. So you start off your college student app at that school in Canada, you know? And I'm like, okay, you know, I collect plants, and that's the plant lovers community is about 4 million people, which is a lot. But if you think about the people that collect art, the people that collect antiques, it's a lot more than just 4 million people in total. So we're going with plants and natural items to see if we can test and learn and reinvent the collecting experience. And then my plan is art and media. So those vintage photograph lovers, CDs, DVDs, home things, and, you know, I feel like books and stationery, things like that. And then maybe like something a little bit bigger and more like decor and furniture, like cookie jars and KitchenAids and you know, there's a lot of people that collect like gold spoons, like little teaspoons
Yeah.
and stuff like that. We might, go from the smallest amount of users and get them right. We're probably going to mess up, but let fewer people see us mess up, learn some stuff, go right to art and media, my next biggest passion, and then like try to see what else we can get right before being a place where everyone can collect. So I think that you guys are gonna like have such fun with when we move to phase 2 after a couple of months. I think that you guys are not only going to be tastemakers on it, but also like I hope to make it super easy to be an entrepreneur too, because for entrepreneurs, what you have that Amazon doesn't, what you have that Barnes and Nobles doesn't, is an understanding of your community, an understanding of your stuff and your take on that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I love about what you said was thinking about how to connect with someone and recommend them something they weren't looking for. I think that is like, we've been taking the human out of commerce.
Right.
And I feel like, what if you had more in-store interactions, but also the online interactions were more like in-store interactions too? Mm-hmm. Like, better.
Right. It would be way better, and you would feel better about buying stuff as opposed to just being like Amazon plant buy, Amazon plant buy, at Amazon plant buy. And then it comes to your house and you just plop it, done. And then the next one comes, done. It's different to say, I got this plant from Shirley. She collects plants and she went to Rutgers and she, blah, 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 blah. And then so now when you water the plant, you think about where you got the plant from.
Yeah. And the great thing about the one thing I wanted to make a priority for Choosy is being able to follow the, those, entrepreneurs, those tastemakers or other collectors, and just like be able to keep up with them, because guess what? They're your faves. You're not just like, everyone on the platform is the same. No, everyone on the platform has their own take on it and on what they know and what they love and what they have. So that's like it's not like we're reinventing the wheel, like technology wise, but in terms of like perspective, in terms of like impact, and what is the mission that guides us is, I think I like to be proud of like trying to be different in that respect. One thing I love about the community market too, and talking to people, I am talking to someone right now that collects dahlias, and he said, it's not just about, so part of the way that I collect rare and uncommon dahlias is I have all the kinds from Home Depot. I'm not going to go to Home Depot anymore. I go to the plant store, and that's nice. I look forward to when they have new things, the plant store in my neighborhood. But they don't have new varieties of dahlias all the time. So in between that, if I find another collector with the dahlias, I like to go there. But when I go to the collectors, or that I go to the flower shop, it's not just getting that stuff. Part of it, like half of it, is just being able to talk shop with somebody that knows dahlias, and somebody who's as excited about them as me. That's like, people are like, are you building a place where people are buying and selling stuff, or are you building a place for community? And I'm like, it's part of it. Community needs to be part of shopping. That's what makes it good. That's what makes it fun. So the community market on Saturday, not only we're going to have amazing vendors from the community making aromatherapy, picture frames, jewelry, all of the planty stuff, a lot of really cool planty stuff, but also everyone is so excited to talk about that stuff, to talk about planting. And some of them might be like, oh my gosh, I would love to learn how to make a soil mix, or I would love to learn how to take care of herbs. Well, here's a book about it. Here's some planters so you can do it. And it's like, wow, tomorrow I have all the supplies I need to be my best self.
Yes.
That it's the satisfaction
Right.
comes from community, from
Mm-hmm.
us all helping each other. Um, not just the stuff. I feel like the world is always thinking about stuff, but I'm like, but stuff is different than meaningful stuff, is
Right.
different than stuff that is given to me by someone that knows and cares. Like that's,
Mm-hmm.
so if they're like, are you making community? Are you making commerce? I'm like, you don't understand that it's this.
Right.
The only way we can prove it is just by like, I don't know, doing an IRL and, you know, getting to know people and seeing if that works.
Right.
If people buy stuff and also make friends and talk about it, then I think that we have validation for why, you know, more engaging connections make sense, and is, you know, I don't know. I've always envisioned a more responsible consumerism where we don't throw out as much stuff, and
Right.
we also care about the things that we buy more than we just mass, you know, it's like the fast fashion effect where every month there's a bunch of new stuff that just gets thrown away. And we buy stuff and we don't even care. And
Yeah.
I feel like I don't want a future like that.
Yes. And we all deserve a future than that. And
I always buy secondhand, like my
totally.
clothes and stuff. And I like, this is a hand me down from my mom, this fish necklace.
I've been looking at that necklace the entire time.
My dad is a fisherman. He loves to fish. And my mom, like, I don't know. She's always handing me, she loves when I wear hand-me-downs because I guess I just can look like a mini her. So I'm always wearing hand-me-downs. Like half of my clothes are like secondhand, or I don't own them, or do like a clothing swap kind of situation.
Yeah.
I'm always trying
There's
to like,
love in hand-me-downs too, though.
what?
There's love in hand-me-downs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And there's love in Choosy. I mean, just the community that you're creating, there's love going around. I love that the person that is selling the item and the person that is receiving the item can stay in touch, because anytime you give someone something, you wonder how it's doing. And if it's still in good condition, or how it's adding to that person's life. And I'm looking forward to Sunday where your app will pretty much be coming alive with everyone, where, like you said, they can get plans, they can get advice. We have a bunch of beautiful plant books that we put aside, just all kinds of topics with plants, and even just gardening, vegetables and things like that. So the displays are going to be really inspiring. And so we encourage everyone who can hear the sound of my voice to go on Eventbrite and get your ticket. It's only $5. Shirley is making everything very affordable.
And next, one thing that I've not told anyone except on this video is at the Choosy table on Sunday, I will be showing people an exclusive preview of the Choosy app. The Choosy app, which will superpower the experience for collectors, connoisseurs, and enthusiasts. And I would love feedback. But yeah, it's offline, it's super exclusive, and I'm just looking to show people and get their input.
Oh,
so that at the event.
All right. Yay to that. We're looking forward to it. And when Choosy does launch, Hidden Gems will definitely be making an account. One, because we just love what you're doing, and not for nothing, but you're an excellent speaker.
Thank you. I also love to give away from my, we're also giving away plants that are rare from my own collection. So every month we're raffling a mystery rare plant. And we just revealed December's. So if you join the wait list either at the event or by December 1st, you'll be entered into a raffle to win a pink Philodendron Princess. Normal value is between $75 and $175.
Wow.
It's pink, it's gorgeous, and all of our beta waitlisters will be entered into a monthly raffle.
Oh, wow. So there's also perks, which everyone loves.
Yeah. So hopefully it works out. Give the community what they want.
Right.
I know that you guys want plants, so excited to help you out with that.
Yes. And even, not even just what they want, but what they need. And sometimes people don't really know or understand what they need until you present it. And so we've been talking about your event to everyone since we started planning this. And we've been talking to people, and a lot of times they bring it up about how plants literally change your entire environment. They make it feel better. It smells better. You can breathe better. Plants have just tons of benefits upon your health and even just your state of mind. So
is so important.
Yeah.
Having them to care for is so important.
Yes.
And something nice to look at. So for me, it's all about satisfaction and knowing that I can take care of something, seeing it bloom before my eyes. Like,
Right.
I know it's not for everyone, but I feel like if for the people that try it and love it, we really love it, right?
That's absolutely. Thank you so much, Shirley, for your time today.
Absolutely.
And like I said, everyone go on Eventbrite and get your ticket. And you can also connect with us at Hidden Gems Literary Emporium on Facebook and Instagram. What's the best way for them to connect with you, Shirley?
By following Choosy on Facebook. So CHOOSII, Choosy. And going to choosy.us for signing up for our wait list. We're going to build this with our beta users in mind. So as a beta user, you can give us input, you can make suggestions. We'll literally build the best home for you because you'll tell us to. So we're giving you that level of co-creation. So please support us with a follow and also a waitlist sign up with your email. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we're doing that tonight. Me,
okay.
Raymond, and Truth. Thank you so much, Shirley. I will talk to you again very, very soon, obviously, because the event is on Sunday.
Oh yeah, see you on Sunday and see you all viewers there too.
Yeah.
Bye.